What's up, YouTubers? Welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the Skeleton Forces Paratrooper Company from Joytoy. Now, this set was released sometime last year. There's two ways to actually buy this. Individually boxed like so, or it was in a package that included a comic. Now, this set also included those clear rectangular display cases that I absolutely love. Here you can see the three figures on the box, and they're marked A, B, and C. If I turn the boxes on the side, there's not really much going on over here. If I turn them around to the back, you can actually see the back of the figures, which is kind of a neat touch. And if I turn them to the other side, you can actually see the entire group. And the picture is the same on all three of the boxes. And of course, spin them back around to the front. Now, this is a great way to display these guys on your shelf, but you know me. Let's open them up and see what's inside. Alright, I've taken everything out of the packaging and laid it on the table. And as you can see, there's absolutely no shortage of supplies that come with these figures. Right out of the gate, these figures actually do come with those replacement parts that we've all known to come and love when it comes to the Joytoy figures. It includes knees, shoulders, elbows, and ankles. And of course, this is in tan and the peach color. Now, looking at the rest of the accessories, it comes with 3 identical backpacks, 3 helmets, 3 waist pieces. Now, this particular figure actually comes with some long sleeves, so you can swap them out with the short sleeves. He has a set of fists, and that's the same for the other 2. There's 3 scarves. There's 2 identical rifles and 3 identical pistols with a sniper rifle. And of course, the 3 figures themselves. And here's those 3 display cases that I mentioned a little bit ago. I think we'll take a look at the fists first, but what I'll do is grab my tweezers so my big hands don't get in the way. And I'll bring it in nice and close to the camera. And I absolutely love the knuckle dusters on these gloves. And these are in that tan color. So it looks like faux leather. Of course, these are closed fists. Great looking detail on these things. And there's 3 sets of those, one for each of the figures. There's 3 identical backpacks, one for each of the figures. You can see this is in a tan color with the black buckles. Nice design on the side with a pouch, and there's a clip right here and a clip right here. These straps are really flexible, so they go on the figures quite easily. Just a little bit of heat will help you do that. There's 3 scarves for each of the figures. Now, these are white with a black wash, and these are made out of a pliable plastic. Of course, if you heat these up, you could probably bend them in any shape you want. Now, let's take a look at the waist piece. And there's 2 different types. And you can see that the one on the left has just a belt, and the one on the right has a few extra bands that go around the waist and the crotch area. And these 2 are actually the same. Also, the figure on the far left over here comes with his own carabiner. And that's red, and that goes onto any one of the loops. I'll bring in the 2 long sleeve parts of his shirt. You gotta go look at these, and the one on the left has some type of communicator on his wrist. And I really like how they gave us this option. This changes up the figure a little bit from the other 2. And 3 identical helmets. You can see how the visor pops in that bright red with the yellow mouthpiece. Fantastic detail on these things. Great looking detail on the side with the blue hose and the yellow hose. And here's the actual faction logo on top of the helmet. Of course, the detail goes all the way around the helmet. And these are pretty pliable, so they fit on the figures quite easily. I'll grab the rifles next, but please note that these 2 rifles are absolutely identical. There's a sniper rifle and 3 identical pistols. I'll bring this one in close. And we've seen this rifle before. Absolutely love this rifle with the tan highlights and the gunmetal gray color. The foregrip and the, looks like the ACOG sight on top. And maybe even a flashlight at the end of the muzzle, and it's nice and thick. And like I said, we get 2 of those. Let me bring in the sniper rifle. This is also in the gunmetal gray with the silver highlights. I love the tan highlights on the actual body of the gun, and great looking scope on top. And one thing to note, mine's actually missing the bipod. I'm not sure why that is, so let me know if you guys have this set and your bipod's missing as well. But nevertheless, I really like this sniper rifle. And I'll grab the tweezers. I'll grab this one over here because I'm right-handed. I'll bring in this into the camera. And this is in the same gunmetal gray with silver highlights. Great looking detail on these. And like I said, there's actually 3 of these, 1 for each of the figures. Okay, for the final accessory is the display cases. And I want to talk about these for a second. Now these were actually available with a lot of last year release sets. Unfortunately, they're not releasing these anymore. But you can still buy them individually, and I believe Locker Toys and Big Bad Toy Store has these. If I flip down the top, you can see that they actually have different covers on them. I'll take this one off and you can see the foot peg right there. And you line up your figure on the foot peg. Nice and secure. And then what you do is you take the actual case, you flip it over, and now your figure's under glass. So you can display them in this fashion if you like. And also, up here is a tray, and that's to hold all their small accessories so you don't lose them. And then what you can do is take another display case, put a figure inside of it, and you can actually stack these on top. I thought this was a really ingenious idea from Joytoy, and man, do I wish they kept releasing these with these later sets. And I thought I'd take a second and actually point out how these things work for you. On to the figures themselves. Each one of these figures has the same exact upper body armor. I'll bring him in close so you can take a look at this head sculpt. He has a light brown beard and mustache, a great looking faded haircut with long dark brown hair on top. On his body armor, it's got the word power, 3 light tan pouches on the front. He has an off-white short scarf. On his belt, he has a blue clip. He has pads on his thighs. And this particular figure actually has knee pads. And on the bottom of the boots, they actually sculpted some detail. Turning to the side, he has shoulder armor, elbow pad. Here's the pouch on his thigh. Really love the detail on the back of this, and he actually has a clip on the back of his belt too. Great looking detail back here. And on the right thigh is his holster. And I've put the pistol in there to show you where that goes. Really love the knuckle dusters on these gloves. Grab the second figure and bring him in close. He also has a light brown beard. He's kind of squinting. I love the hair on this figure. Do a really good job with these head sculpts. He also has a scarf. Of course, the same body armor, and on his belt he actually has 3 blue carabiners. He has different thigh armor. He has shin pads. Now if I turn him to the side, you can see his shoulder pads are different than a previous figure. He also has an elbow pad on this arm. And you'll also notice his forearms are actually wrapped. And he's wearing a white t-shirt with wrapped forearms. Here's a good look at the thigh armor. Turn him around to the back, and you can see on the back of his belt he's got shotgun shells. Of course, on this side he has the pistol. And me see if I can't get him to stand up. And for the final figure, I like this head sculpt because he actually has a smirk on his face and a raised eyebrow. I haven't seen this head sculpt before. He also has a faded haircut, and you can see he's actually not wearing a t-shirt at all. He's got a different scarf than his teammates. Same body armor. Same belt. Same thigh armor and shin guards as the middle figure. Turning him around to the back, you can see it's all the same sculpting back here. And of course, his pistol on his side. Alright, stand up without falling over. And I'm going to grab the helmets and put one on each of the figures so you can see what that looks like. And I didn't even heat these up and they slide on really well. And I'll bring him in close. And now you can see what he looks like all geared up with this helmet on. Absolutely fantastic detail. I really love the color scheme of these figures, and as you can see, you can still get some articulation even with the helmets on. And I like to show you how these figures actually hold their weapons. I put a different weapon in each one of their hands. We'll start with him. He's got that rifle. He's holding it perfectly. It's right against his shoulder. He's sighting down that sight perfectly. He's got both hands on the actual gun. I'll let him squeeze off a couple rounds. Yep, you can actually do a lot of damage with that gun. Let me grab the sniper next. He's sighting down that sight perfectly. He's got that gun rested on his shoulder. He nails down perfectly, and let's see what he can do when he squeezes the trigger. If you play around with these figures enough, you can get them into just about any pose you want. And for the final figure, I'll put the pistol in his hand. He's got both hands on this gun. He's holding it officially. Absolutely beautiful. Joytoy makes some of the best articulated figures on the market today, and every one of their sets can hold their weapons perfectly. In my opinion, of course. And it's articulation time. Now the articulation is absolutely identical for all three of these figures. I'll bring him in nice and close. His head can move left and right. Of course, this is on a double ball joint, so he can look up about this far. And he can tuck his chin in about this far. With that double ball joint, you get a really great range of motion. Onto the shoulder, this can rotate 360 degrees. He can raise his arm up about this far, and of course it's hindered a little bit with the shoulder pad. We bend the elbow. That bends a solid 90 degrees. And it can rotate 360 degrees. Bend this back up, and the wrist can rotate 360 degrees. Now this particular wrist, as you can see, bends in this direction. Whereas the other wrist bends in the up and down direction, of course, to better hold his weapons. There is a diaphragm joint, but that's hindered with the body armor. He has a waist joint. He can swivel back and forth. He can actually bend over really far. And he can bend back really far. When we come down to the legs, you can do the splits about this far. Whoops. There we go. Coming down to the thigh, there's actually a cut right there. And that rotates 360 degrees. And you know what's next. You can Spartan kick forward this far.
This is Sparta!
And of course you got the double knee joint right here. Great range of motion. You can point his foot down this far. Point his foot up this far. And this figure actually has the toe joint which bends up like this. Once again, you can get these figures into just about any pose you want if you mess around with them enough. To bring this video to a close, let's do a comparison with some other 1/18 scale figures. I'll bring in a Law from G.I. Joe. Get him to stand up right there. I'll bring in a Marauders figure. This is one of the new Russian figures that they released. How about another Joytoy figure? And I'll bring in a Boss Fight Studios figure. And I'll get him to stand up right here. Now you can see just how these guys size up with other 1/18 scale figures. Well, that's going to wrap up my look at the Joytoy Skeleton Forces Paratrooper Company. I know you've heard me say it in the past, and I'll continue to say it in the future. Joytoy continues to amaze me. They release absolutely amazing figures. They continue to grow and actually improve on each and every one of their newer sets. Now granted, this set was from last year, but there's still a major improvement from their earlier released 1/18 scale figures. If you have the means, I'd say go ahead and pick them up and add them to your collection. And you really won't be disappointed with those display cases. If you're like me, you're going to want to try to hunt more of those down. Stay tuned for more reviews coming up real soon. And as always, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you like what you see, join the community. And hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for future notifications. And help a fellow collector out and share your knowledge.